Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I am David Allen, or if you'd like, Super Dave. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Good morning, Clemen. Thank you for joining us today. So today we are covering Night Force Tunnel Rat 107 in the classified line. So this is a redeco of a previous figure that we've gotten. So this should be a fairly quick video, depending upon how much interaction I get in this interview, this episode with you guys on the chat. And so I pulled out the first version of Tunnel Rat here to compare it to. But this is a really good Tunnel Rat, I must say. The first version, I really like it a lot. It's very reminiscent of the vintage. It has some added elements to it with the goggles, his gun, and different little parts that they added to it that I really, really liked. And I think it made that first version pop a little bit and stand out as a upgraded classified figure. So I was a little surprised that they did such an early redeco of Tunnel Rat, and so we're going to go into him. So as I said, it is 107. He got his first appearance, I believe, in Sunbow in the Arise, Serpentor Arise. No, actually, it was in the movie G.I. Joe the movie was where Tunnel Rat first gets his appearance. He's one of the rawhides in the movie. And then in the comics, I believe he's around 60 or 61. He was part of that Chuckles team that was kind of recruited by Cobra, but then G.I. Joe kind of recruited him at the end. It was a little bit of a mystery as to what was going on there. And that had Chuckles, it had Tunnel Rat, Fast Draw, and Falcon were the recruits for that story. It was a unique way to join the G.I. Joe team, all of those guys. He's got that serious artwork again, and he looks like he's very intent. And if you're not weren't aware, Tunnel Rat was designed to look like Larry Hama. The vintage figure was supposed to be Larry Hama. Super Sean Jones, thank you. So that's why he's a little bit Asian in his artwork and stuff like that, because he's supposed to look like Larry Hama. Then we have on this side, we have the Target artwork with the QR code to Nowhere again. I wish they would use these QR codes and update the classified website on Hasbro.com so we could get their file cards and we could get all those definitions and maybe some of the tampos and stuff like that, and make the club a little bit better, and maybe give some patches and posters and different things, and make it a legitimate Pulse club or whatever. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know if they have the team to manage something like that, but I think it's worthwhile to do. But it is what it is. So then we're going to go to the back. We got the render with all of his equipment. We got a couple of call outs on there. And he comes with quite a lot of stuff. Looks like he comes with just about as much stuff as the first version, although the deco is a little bit different. Sup, Super Dave and chat. Woody 222 figures. Addict. And then we have, hello, Sean and Clement. And then Michael Gene Fleming. Good morning, all. Thank you. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining me today. This is going to be a quick one, guys. So if you have something you want to say, put it in the chat because I won't be on this episode very long, because this is a redeco of Tunnel Rat. So then we have the the photography artwork by Shooting the Galaxy Matt. We have that little artwork from the side, and then the render of the accessories again. And so he's in the cave, and you can see the Energon. So I think this one's a little bit different than the previous package, because I think he was in like a tunnel, like a train station tunnel or whatever. So it's a little different. And then you got the call out of the Night Force on the package. So this is a Walmart exclusive figure. Everybody's saying hello to everybody in the chat. So this was part of the exclusive Walmart Night Force lineup that they did through Walmart, and so it keeps that theme of that Energon and stuff like that they're doing with this line. And I hope we really get more into that Energon. Now we got the pre-order for the stage 2 mole rat. So we got 2 different mole rats. I really want to get a lot of other Vipers that have been like taken over by the Energon, and maybe some creepy crawly, some monsters or something down the road. They've been eking this theme out for quite a while, and we really need to get a payoff for that. I hope soon. Maybe we'll get some Energon vehicles or something that uses that technology, because we got early on the Joes, the really high tech, really fancy futuristic Joes had all those guns with the lasers and the blue lights and everything like that. So you know that they've been planning this Energon theme for quite a while. Sean Jones never had the Night Force Tunnel Rat. Well, hopefully this will get you in the mood to get it, maybe, if I do a good job doing this video. So I think that whole Night Force idea, connecting it to the Cobra Island and the Energon, was a really good plan of theirs, but we haven't gotten the payoff for it yet. They've been getting us with the mole rats, all these packages, but we haven't gotten what this is ultimately going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be something really cool. That's my feeling on it, but we'll have to wait and see. What do you guys think the Energon situation is going to end up being? Do you think it's going to be some really bad payoff? Do you think it's going to be some sort of energy refinement playset? Or do you think they're going to turn a lot of the Cobras into energy infected zombies? Are we going to get zombies? Oh, you didn't have Toys R Us in Canada, Western Canada? Sean Jones in the 80s. Yeah, because Night Force was originally an imprint of Toys R Us in the 80s when it was released, the original Night Force. And so they did do Night Force versions of a lot of characters. I'll have to showcase that in a future episode. I didn't think about showcasing all the Night Force vehicles, but they didn't come with figures. The figures were released separately, and I'm trying to think. I don't recall Tunnel Rat having a vintage Night Force figure in the 80s. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I don't think Tunnel Rat was a Night Force figure in the 80s. So we have his weapons crate 107, Tunnel Rat, and the Stars and Stripes on his weapons crate. We'll put that over there. Then we have the Tunnel Rat there with his package. So I don't think he did. A lot of the that's one of the interesting thing about the Night Force brand figures, is that a lot of the stuff they're doing for Night Force was never in the original Night Force. If you go back and you look at all the characters that are being released in Night Force, like Shooter, she was a Night Force in the 2000s, actually the 50th anniversary, right? I'm trying to think of who else. Tunnel Rat, I don't think was. a character that's coming in a little while, brand new character. He was not a Night Force character either. And then there's a 2-pack down the road, several 2-packs down the road, and several of those characters were not Night Force. So I think what the whole terminology of Night Force is in this sense is it's just a squad, like an extra GI Joe squad, a night squad of different characters that could infiltrate different targets of for Cobra, or adversaries or antagonists, and they send in this squad, different, and it could be different people, and it could be specialized for that mission, and so forth. And so that's why a lot of the characters that they've released for this are these unique characters for Night Force and the Walmart exclusive line. So it's much different than the original Night Force. There's the inside package again, and it's that side artwork again. And so there's your Night Force Tunnel Rat. Sean Jones, MGF, and Clement, how are you guys doing? Oh, okay. Still saying hi in the chat. So that's an interesting thing. Maybe Michael Gene Fleming could have another take on this situation. Do you agree with me, Michael? Is the Night Force branding of this just as to create another squad, similar to what they're doing with Skybound Comics, where they're creating this new squad of Joes that really doesn't have anything to do with the original Night Force, that it's a completely different idea, and the way that they're portraying it in Classified, and it's a squad to infiltrate Cobra Island, to deal with this Dark Energon scenario and the Mole Rats and so on and so forth. So that's why a lot of the characters are different that weren't in the original Night Force. That's just my 2 cents, but it makes sense if they're going to continue this idea, this Dark Energon idea, and these infected Mole Rats and other possibilities in the future, maybe monsters or whatever, vehicles with Energon. I don't know. It's just a theory. So definitely he's a lot darker. He doesn't have as much of the extras, but it looks like it's a 100% reuse of the mold for this. He has the pads, he's got all the secondary leg and harnesses and everything that he had on the other one. Looks almost identical. Even the do-rag on his head and his neckerchief here. He's got all the same secondaries on this figure that is on the other one. This holster secondary is riding up, though, on this one. So based on the deco, he's pretty much the same character, just with different deco, different color schemes. This is obviously a darker color scheme. Sean Jones, Tunnel Rat, one of my top 10 all time. Well, that's great. Tunnel Rat's a really cool character. He's always been portrayed as a very energetic, very high energy, like anxiety type of a character. And I think that's why he does a very good job in the job that he's in, because he's a bomb expert and ordnance expert. And he goes into deep, deep places to do that job. I mainly see the figure choices as Hasbro not needing to be tied exclusive to the past. But yes, there is a clear storyline going on with the Night Force and the response to the Dark Energon issue. All right. Exactly. Thank you, Michael. I thought you would see it that way as well. So he's they changed the color scheme. He had the green shirt. He's got a dark shirt. He had light gray pants. Now he's got dark gray pants. His boots are about the same color. His gloves are a little bit different, and the knuckles are a little bit different. The do-rag is camouflage, whereas the other one was gray. His handkerchief looks like about the same color. The secondary is gray. His other secondary leg holsters and secondaries are both like a dark greenish gray. The same with his belt. He does have those color decos hits on the belt again and on that little laser scanner thing that he's got up there. And there seems to be a lot of people that have that. And I'm wondering, I want to ask what that thing is one day. If I ever get a chance to do an interview with Lenny and them, I would like to find out what that is. He's got the that tampo there on his shoulder right there. And some of the figures have the Night Force tampo. I want to see if that's the same tampo. Yeah, it's a different tampo than he had on the regular version. So this has got to be the tampo for the Night Force, because there is a different tampo for all Night Force figures. And I think that's what it is. So I like the separations in the coloring and the deco. Of course, he's got all the same articulation points. He's got the butterfly shoulders, the pinned knees, the pinned elbows. He's got the head rocker. He's got the ab crunch. He's got the waist and crotch articulation there. He's got the foot rockers with the secondary ankle and the thigh and calf articulation. He's got both of the wrist articulations. So he's got the twisting one, and then he also has the hand one where it goes up and down. He does not have the secondary wrist articulation though. So he's got almost all the articulation points except for one, the secondary wrist one. He's got the two hand ones, whereas it's the one that goes like this and then the one that goes like that. So there's two different ones now. So let's get into some of his accessories and we'll see how he scales up to his first version with all of his accessories, because he had a lot on that render. Gobbledygook, legal. There. Then we got his package, Joe and Cobra package. So then we'll open that up. There. Let's see if they gave him all the same stuff. Obviously, they're going to give him that big backpack again. So we'll put that on him. There. That is a big backpack. Gotta say. All right, so then he has his satchel. Let's see, did I put his satchel on him? Yeah, I did. So let's put his satchel on him again. There. So he has his satchel there. And then he has that night goggle helmet again. Put that on him. There's some really cool deco on that as well. The original one had blue. This one has red. I think it would have been kind of cool if they did multiple colors instead of just doing red or just doing blue or whatever. I think it would have been cool to have like 3 or 4 different colors for him to look through different sights, like purple, blue, red, yellow, to have different sights. But that's just me. I guess that would be too difficult to get that much deco on there. But it looks pretty cool. All right, so then he has his machine gun bullet harness there. Let's see if this is going to go on him. That's going to be a little trickier because I may have to take his helmet off. I mean his backpack back off, because that one is going to be trickier. Let's see. Trying to get this in the right position is going to be harder. there. I forgot if I mentioned that this is the first time we're opening all these figures again. We've done 00 Snake Eyes all the ways up to now 107, and we're on 14 vintage packaged figures, and then we did some odds and end figures as well with the Fortnite Snake Eyes and some of the running variants. So we've done quite a lot of figures. About 150 figures all total, or 130 or 40 figures easy with everything that we've done so far. So there, I've got all that stuff on him now. I got that weapons harness. We got that pouch, the backpack, and the glasses there. Bobby World, thanks for joining us. Good morning. For someone that goes crawling through tunnels, they couldn't give him a big enough backpack. Yeah, it is weird. Even the vintage one had a big backpack, and I don't know why that is. And he's got that big machine gun again. It looks like it's exactly like the other one. It has all those deco hits and everything on there. That dark green with the black. And so, yeah, I agree with you, Bobby World. It is a little odd, but I guess he's supposed to have everything he needs with him on his body, I guess. So that's why I'm guessing. I don't know for certain, but maybe that's something to do with his job. Maybe something to do with that type of position, because they did a lot of research on a lot of this stuff back in the day, if I remember correctly. And so maybe the research showed that they had to have a big backpack for all the gear, the ordnance and the Simtax and plastic explosive and all these things that comes with he would need to come with dynamite, all that stuff. So we got two more of these little lights, the flashlights. This time they have the red, just like his goggles. So I'm going to put them on the backpack like I did with the other ones, except the ones on the regular version are blue, again, to match the goggles. So there's one and there's two. So we'll put them both on there. So that is the only thing I can think of to come up with for that particular thought on that. But, it is what it is. What are you going to do? It's a large backpack. I agree with you. So then he has two holsters. He's got a knife holster on his chest here. So we're going to, oh no, actually the knife holster's on his leg, his left leg. So we'll put that little knife with the little silver and black deco there into the holster on the leg with that. And then he has a little revolver, a little gray revolver, and it has a little black deco on the hilt there. And he's got a holster on his chest. So we'll put that in the holster there on his chest. So right now he's got all of his gear on him. There's the holster there. There's the knife. All the stuff is on the backpack and his chest, and he's carrying everything. So then his gun, they changed the light on the gun to match everything else. So that's red as well. And of course, these little doodads come out. So if he has to do some snipering or long shots from a distance, he can with those little things that fold out there. So then he's got that little cartridge, that weapons cartridge. So I've got to get that on here. I think it goes in the, let's see, where does that go? The weapons are a little gummy. They're getting a little stiffer, but they're still a little gummy. Let me see where that went on this one, because I don't see the spot for it. Oh, it goes underneath. It goes underneath. I was looking for it on the side, but it actually goes underneath. So it goes there. Get it in there. All right, I think I got it. All right, so I got that on there. So we'll put that in his arm here, his big gun. Then we'll put that on there, and Tunnel Rat Night Force is ready for action. So we got everything on him. There. And then we'll get a stand for him. Get him a stand. We'll stand him up. And then he will be ready to go. I'm going to be doing, because we're getting so many figures that I've been unboxing and unpackaging, a lot of my displays are getting filled up a lot. And so I'm going to move a bunch of stuff around. I'm going to make a stand for Night Force and Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders, and I'm going to rearrange some of my figures. I'm going to put all my OG-13s together as well, and so I'm going to rearrange a lot of figures so they're going to be different. Next time I do a video, there's going to be a lot of different stuff out, and there'll be a lot more room for things coming in the future, because we're almost finished with the OG-13. We're very close. We got Grand Slam and Flash, and they're pretty much identical figures with the exception of their heads, and everything else is identical for the vintage version. I don't know if they do classified versions of Flash and Grand Slam, if they'll keep the deco the exact same on both of them. Would they do a 2-pack with the exact same body with 2 different heads and a whole bunch of different gear, or would they release 2 figures and change up the gear, make it a different color, maybe a blue, or maybe use the Grand Slam that was silver for him and the red for Flash? What do you guys think? Do you think they'll do that, Michael Gene Fleming? Do you think they'll keep the deco exactly the same, or do you think they'll change it up, or do you think they'll do a 2-pack? How do you think they're going to release Flash and Grand Slam? Because we know Flash is on the way. He was on a leak list from Big Bad Toy Store. No, from Entertainment Earth had a leak listing for him during the summer, and he never came out. So we're pretty sure Flash is on his way, but how they're going to release that figure is going to be a mystery, and it's going to be pretty similar to Grand Slam. So I don't know. So, but when you think of characters like this Tunnel Rat, which is 100% reuse, 100%, every single thing on this figure is the same as it is on the other version. So all they did was change the paint in the machine. They re-released the machine, and they made another figure, because it's only been like not even probably 15 figures or 15 items since this figure. It's only been less than a year that this character came out with the regular version, and now we get a Night Force version. And we've seen that in the past with the Python Patrol and the Tiger Force as well. So that's why I'm thinking, well, they're going to just reuse that mold if they have it in the machine already, right? They just redeco it or make it slightly different, and then we get the other figure shortly after, and then that finishes your OG-13 to a certain extent. Yeah, there are different versions of OG-13s and stuff like that, like Clutch. Breaker has 2 versions. Scarlet, Snake Eyes, all have 2 versions. Various versions, but there's obviously the OG version of Scarlet and the OG version of Stalker and Snake Eyes as well. So you could be more specific about their decos for the OG-13. And then so I'm going to do a display on the OG-13 and try to get the best versions of each one. And I'm pretty sure I know which ones. And then maybe at some point, if I get enough displays and I get enough room, maybe I could do the lineups by year and do all the Joes, and that's going to take a while to do something like that. And I don't know if I have enough space here to do it. But it's something I'm thinking about with my display space and reorganizing things. But there's a lot of figures and a lot of vehicles and stuff, so I'm running out of space to put stuff. But I do have enough room to put some figures still on these displays. The ones behind me and those ones, I still have room. And I just put some new ones over here near my computer space here. And I've got my Crimson display, my Python Patrol, and my Tiger Force display, and the Dreadnought display. And then I just bought two more displays. So I'm going to put one as OG-13 and probably one as Sergeant Slaughter Marauders and Night Force. And then I have one for new characters over here because I've run out of Joe new characters on both of my two displays. And then I got another display up there that I put, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one yet. I might do Cobra La possibly, and some creepy crawlies and stuff. Put all the creepy crawlies and Cobra La on a display up there maybe for the time being until we get the Snowcat. But that spot up there across from where my HasLab Hiss is going to be the Snowcat spot. And then eventually the Rattler and the Dragonfly will both be right here. So we'll be moving the Cold Slither out of there. So it's gonna be interesting to move a lot of this stuff around, so I can create more room for stuff. But you guys will be able to see it as we go. So there was another item that I got the other day I wanted to showcase. Since we're talking about Night Force, I figured why not talk about Python Patrol. So I got the Target exclusive Python Patrol. I went to Target the other day and I found it. They had a bunch of them at the store. So now that's a third release of Serpentor in the Super 7 Reaction Plus line. And I like this deco a lot. It looks really cool. I wish that was a regular figure because it's a really cool figure. This is obviously an O-Ring Plus figure, and this is the third release. And then we have the cross cell on the back with all the figures. They got a lot of figures on there. But this is a Python figure. I'm still missing one figure from the Reaction Plus, and then I guess I'm missing several of the Cold Slither Zartans because they released like 3 or 4 different decos. I got the regular one from the main line, but I did not get the all the different variations. So if I see them at conventions, I'll try to get them so I can keep my O-Ring Reaction Plus intact and complete. And then there's a comic book. There's a comic book kind of black and white Snake Eyes that I've been looking at, trying to get as well. That was last year, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure. And then I think I'll have all the Reaction Plus Super 7 figures. Looking forward to what they're going to be doing next. We've got a glimpse of what the glow-in-the-dark Snake Eyes figure is. That there's some sneak peeks that were released by Super 7 of the Snake Eyes glow version as a O-Ring Plus Reaction Plus figure as well. Michael Gene Fleming. I think Super 7 is coming, is aiming to make a Serpentor version for each of the historical characters that were used to make him. Oh, I see. So there's different versions of Serpentor based on the different historical characters that are inside of him. So now we have 3 different Serpentors. He could be Genghis Khan in one. He could be, Sutek in another. He could be Sergeant Slaughter in another. Yeah, that makes sense. But the comic book version, he had Storm Shadow in him. So yeah, I always wanted that reddish bronze version. I don't know. Have we ever gotten that reddish bronze version? I guess we did get it as a reaction regular Serpentor, right? I like that one. I wish they would do a deco of that as a Reaction Plus, because I've always wanted that as a O-ring style figure of that Serpentor. But I'm enjoying the reactions. But that Snake Eyes one was a drop of the sneak peek, so we don't know if they're going to be doing those soon. If they're going to drop the entire 4-figure lineup. So we got the Cobra Commander that's supposedly movie inspired and decoed with the cape and his scepter and stuff like that. And then there's I think an um, Arctic Scarlet, and then Mara, which is Aqua Mara. So I'm guessing she's gonna get the blue face and stuff, and her hands will be blue. So that's what they're gonna call the Aqua Mara. So we'll be getting that one. Those are the 4 figures in the next wave. And then they released the second 2 Micronauts figures as well. So I have not gotten them yet either, or ordered them yet, and I want to. Not serious, just joking about the number of versions released so close together. But it would be kind of fun to have a dozen same Serpentors lined up in some diorama, lab diorama. Yeah, well, that's the thing when you get into multiples of figures. There's like, I don't know how many of the same Snake Eyes and Dukes we've gotten with different decos as well. Those Cobra Commander, Duke, Snake Eyes, Serpentor have been probably the most released figures in either Reaction or in Reaction Plus thus far. Maybe that Zartan now, there's like 4 or 5 versions of that Cold Slither Zartan as well. So Super 7 is getting a lot of use out of those molds. But, they got to do that in order to get new stuff, because we are getting a lot of new stuff. We got Ramar, we got the Fatal Fluffies, we got like a new Wild Bill. There's a lot of new stuff coming from them. And so if we're going to get other new stuff, they're going to have to get some money back for reuse. And I can see popular characters like Snake Eyes, Duke, Cobra Commander, Serpentor always being bought by people. The Bat is another one that's a lot of reuse. So in order to get those 6 reuse characters constantly being released, we're going to get new characters in each line. Like the last batch had Big Lob, Pythona, and Destro in Arctic gear. Were all fairly brand new molds for those 3 figures. So then you got, I think it was in that wave, another Duke. So you can see how they're doing this to get more reuse and to make new stuff. So I thought they were going to do another movie line that was going to have Chuckles, the movie Chuckles in it. And we were going to get some other characters, maybe a Denizen, a Cobra Denizen, but we didn't. So maybe that'll be the next line after this, because we've already gotten the first movie line. They had Falcon, Jinx, the Cobra, the Royal Guard from Cobra La, and let's see, Jinx. Who else was in that line? I can't think of it. Was it Serpentor? It might have been Serpentor in that lineup. I can't recall who all the figures that were in that first line off the top of my head were. But I know it was Falcon, Jinx, and the Royal Guard. And then the second wave had Pythona, Big Lob, and Arctic Destro. Maybe it was Arctic Cobra Commander. It might have been Arctic Cobra Commander that was in that lineup. Oh, no, it wasn't Archer. It was Once a Man Cobra Commander. It was Once a Man Cobra Commander that was in that lineup. So, yeah, it was Falcon, Jinx, Royal Guard, Once a Man Cobra Commander. That's what it was. The Arctic one was with the the Cold Slither, Zartan, Wild Bill, and there was a Duke in that one. That's right. So then we get the Big Lob, the Pythona, the Arctic Destro, and I think maybe an Arctic Snake Eyes or something like that. That was in this last batch. And then now we're getting the Arctic Scarlet, the Mara, the Glow, Snake Eyes, and supposedly the more accurate movie version of Cobra Commander with the cape and the scepter and that deco from the movie. And so maybe then after that we'll get the Chuckles and the Cobra La denizens and a couple other characters that we weren't aware of that were coming, because I've heard that we were going to get a Dana and a Quick Kick, but I haven't seen them released yet, that Dana and Quick Kick. So possibly it'll be Chuckles, Quick Kick, Dana, and Cobra La denizen. And then it'll probably be all we're going to get for movie released figures. And then we'll start getting some other things from other waves. And maybe we'll get like Honda Lou. Maybe we'll get Satin in her band with Snake Eyes and Shipwreck and Timber as a 4-pack for San Diego Comic-Con next year. Possibly we can get some other characters. Quinn, maybe Clown. Because the good thing about Super 7 is they are touching on not only comic inspired versions of characters, but animated Sunbow ones. So they're doing back and forth. Whereas Classified really isn't touching comic book versions at all. They're doing a lot of Sunbow, but they're not really getting into comic books. They're not even getting into Skybound comic books, unless you want to include characters like Major Blood. A different version of him, possibly. He looks a little bit, and then like they reuse characters like Raptor. They use in the Classified version in the comics and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's interesting that they're not touching on the comics that much. They say everything's on the table, but there has not been a lot of comic inspired figures. But I guess they say they start from the vintage figure first, and then they go and they update it from there and classify it up and try to incorporate different elements. And I've noticed that where they've incorporated different variations of the figures in the history of the Hasbro G.I. Joe brand, they've incorporated different variations of the figure, but not necessarily things from Sunbow. Or not Sunbow, the comics. Definitely Sunbow. There's a little hints on the packaging from Sunbow, and the figures, they've done a lot of inspirations of those versions as well. So it's interesting why they're not doing comic book inspired versions, but maybe down the road they will. But we'll just have to wait and see. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Night Force Tunnel Rat is a really cool looking version of Tunnel Rat. I almost would like this version better than the vintage version or the original version because he looks cooler. I like that deco. I think the deco really pops on him with that Night Force scheme. And the cool thing is there's a lot of Night Force characters that have come out over the years. There's a lot of vintage Night Force. There's a lot of new Night Force that we haven't gotten either. They did Shooter that was in that 50th anniversary 3-pack. Then there was a Falcon, and then there was Outback as well. So there's been a lot of rumors that we're going to get an Outback Night Force, but we never did. We did get 2 Outbacks already with Tiger Force and the original, but there's a lot of Night Force versions of characters. We are going to get a Night Force version, vintage version of a character coming up very shortly, but he's going to come with a vehicle, which I think is really cool as well. But a lot of the figures from the Night Force have not been released yet. So there's a lot of room for Night Force. There's a lot of room for Tiger Force and Python Patrol and Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders to still get more releases for those subgroups. And the way that they're doing Night Force, it could be a lot of different things, a lot of new characters, a lot of characters that never got Night Force before. So that particular subgroup has a lot of legs to it, similar to the Python Patrol, where they added the bat, and they added the who else got a new Python Patrol? There was 2 Python Patrols that got new figures, I believe. Oh, the Vipra. Viper got a new one as well. So they're kind of adding to these subgroups, and they're adding new characters and characters that were never in the subgroup, which I like as well. So there are definitely a lot of room for all these subgroups to grow. In the 50th anniversary, we got a Crocmaster Python Patrol character, which was a really cool new Crocmaster. So would they reuse that mold and that Gator mold and try to get another Crocmaster? Would they do the same thing with Mutton Junkyard? Would they do a Slaughters Marauders Mutton Junkyard? He's one of the last Slaughters Marauders of the vintage line. So a lot of these reuses of these things, they're going to have to spread out and try to reuse these molds. But I can see them doing it. But it just gives more legs to this line and helps it grow and grow and grow and go longer. So that 10-year plan that I said, okay, we're in 25 and we're going to get to 35, that gives a lot of fodder to fill in the gaps to get this line up to 2035. Whether it goes past 35, who knows? Star Wars is still going, Black Series, so they're on their 15th year, but it's still going, but they don't do as much. They only do a little here, a little there, and they're kind of being very specific about what they're releasing now, and different characters, new versions of characters and stuff like that with Black Series. The same thing kind of with Marvel. They've finally gotten to a point where they're releasing a lot of new stuff, and they're only like putting reuses of characters where they can do a 2-pack or with a accessory of some sort, or a new wave or whatever. That's a Build-A-Figure wave. So I think Hasbro's getting to that point now. They're looking at this long-term year plan by year plan. They're like, okay, we need a couple of animal figures. So what are we going to do? A new animal with a figure, a reuse with an animal and a figure, a figure with some large accessory or whatever, like the scrap iron or something like that. So they're looking at these line plans as they go, and we know for a fact they're already into 2027. Lenny said it in several interviews that he's trying to think when people ask questions. Wait a minute, I'm in 2027 now, so I've got to rewind my brain to get to 2025, he says, and I've seen him say it in several different interviews. I pay attention to a lot of these interviews with Lenny and Tony and Emily and BMAC, because there's a lot of clues in there, subtexts and things in between different things that they say. If you pay attention, you can pick up on a lot of this stuff, and you can figure out what they're doing for the future and what the line is going to look like down the line. And if you keep an eye out on the name onlys, the render reveals, and a lot of these leaked listing reveals and stuff like that, you can play detective and figure out what's going to happen over the line. When they introduced the HMS, it was obvious they were going to do the MMS down the line, and we were going to get a vintage early version, first version of Hawk. So that was obvious. There's a lot of parts as well. When you look at these figures and you look at this line, you can tell what figures are going to be done. Like, I know we're going to get that Longshoreman Shipwreck. I know we're going to get that Hardball. I know we're going to get certain figures based on the figures we've gotten. Like I said, that Mutton Junkyard in Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders, that Night Force Outback, that Python Patrol Crocmaster. They're going to come. They're going to get all the vintage original figures. Airtight. He's coming. The vehicle drivers, I don't know. Maybe we'll get Thunder as a single figure release, since they've been doing vehicle drivers as single figure releases, like Steeler, Copperhead, CoverGirl, Dark Lawn, and so on. So maybe Thunder we would get as a regular figure and not with the Slugger. And other vehicle drivers like the Interrogator, um, and the different the Destro without the despoiler, the Iron Grenadiers Destro. Those are vehicle driver technically figures, but I think we're going to get them without their vehicle. Certain figures I think are going to have to be released as HasLabs. Cross Country is going to be have to be a HasLab. Ace is going to have to be a HasLab. Raven HasLab. Different the vehicles drivers for the Moray, the Mamba, possibly Cutter with the whale. Several of these figures that are vehicle drivers are going to have to be HasLabs, so we're not going to get them released regularly. But that middle ground, that 150 to 250, maybe some of these vehicles we could get. Maybe the Shark, maybe I don't know, other things in that scale. If the Shark is much bigger and has a 2-seater, we get Deep Six with that. So there's a lot of things I believe we're getting. It's just a matter of where we're going to get it, how we're going to get it, and what decos and what iterations, whether it be upgrade classified, whether it be retro style, whether it be a completely new thing altogether. Those are all mysteries, but we're going to get it all. We're going to get it all. I'm hoping if this line ends that we get as much as possible with it. But we'll just have to wait, but nobody knows the future, but we can speculate and we can use logic. We can use a lot of the information that we have and make educated guesses, and most of these guesses are accurate. Maybe one or two of them are not, but that's just the way it goes. So, well, I love this Tunnel Rat. I think it's a really good figure. I think they did a really good job with it. I think we got two really good Tunnel Rats here out of both of these. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And our next one is going to be a new character. It's going to be a modern re-release of a character that we haven't gotten probably in about 15 years. It was from the let's see, what is it from? It's from the I guess I don't know what you would call this line. It was the Pursuit of Cobra line, I guess you could call it. So it's a modern character from the Pursuit of Cobra, and we haven't gotten this character in 15 years, but it is a modern era character, which I want to get more modern era characters. So I look forward to it. It's got a lot of cool elements to it, a lot of cool gear. It is going to be another Walmart exclusive figure. So we periodically get these Walmart exclusive figures. And so look forward to that one tomorrow in our next video. And I guess thank you everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody joining and commenting, getting involved. What you guys could do really is to help share these videos. The extra Budo head fits on that Tunnel Rat buck, and the skin tones match perfectly. Oh, okay, Woody. 610 Yojo Daddy. Replay Squad. What's up, Dave? Have a great day. Thanks a lot. The extra Budo head fits on the Tunnel Rat buck, and the skins. Oh, okay. So thank you everybody in the chat again, and I appreciate everybody after the fact watching. Replay squad, thank you guys for tuning in and watching after the fact and commenting as well. I appreciate it. Sharing these videos is the number one thing you can do at the moment to help the channel grow. We're doing good. We're on our way to 200 subs, and so I appreciate everything you guys have done. You're all excellent. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. And so this is a Night Force Joe video. So we're going to go with Yo, Joe. See you guys in the next one.